not about chasing the thing that didn't work out to make it work. It's like, it's life is a grand letting go. It is. What is meant for you will not pass you by. But when you are sitting in your angst about it all, the solutions you are seeking are not in your angst.
Yeah.
They're in your alignment. And so how do you align with what you want? You have to make peace with the mess that you might feel you're in right now. If you can make peace with how it hasn't been going and trust that it's actually working out better than you could imagine, you'll get clues as to what is the next path.
You're listening to Power Femme Radio. This is a podcast where ladies come together and try to share their opinions and empower each other to be better women in society.
Did he just say try? You're listening to Power Femme, where women don't try, we do.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Power Femme podcast. I do want to start today's episode by shouting out one of our listeners. This review is from Pink Koala 1394, and she says, "Wow, I listened to this when I was in a bit of a funk, and Heidi switched my entire mood. I love the nuggets of wisdom and powerful reminders that I receive from this podcast. Obsessed." Oh my gosh. Okay, so first of all, it's so sweet to hear from you guys and actually know that you're getting value from this podcast. And I am so excited to bring in today's guest because she's all about switching your mindset in an instant. And I happen to know that the power of your mind is so powerful. So it doesn't matter what you're going through. A lot of times it's the lens you're looking through. A lot of times it's just you need tangible tools to help you tap into abundance and tap into alignment and really just get to what it is that you feel like you're being called to do. So if you feel stuck, if you've been struggling, keep listening to this podcast. Make sure you subscribe. That way you'll be the first to find out about all of our episodes. And today's guest is accomplished actress Wendy Braun, who has built a dynamic career recently appearing on 4 seasons of the celebrated Netflix series Atypical. It's the sweetest series ever. I'm obsessed. As well as guest appearances on This Is Us, Grey's Anatomy, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Criminal Minds, and many more hit television shows and films. Wendy is also the CEO and founder of ActorInspiration.com and was recently featured in Forbes for her game-changing success breakthrough workshop and powerful guided meditations that have helped thousands of creatives overcome obstacles and create new levels of success, joy, and fulfillment. It is my absolute honor to welcome you. Wendy Braun, welcome to Power Femme.
Heidi, thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh.
I'm happy to be here.
I love you so much, and you're
Likewise.
just such an inspiration and a light, and I feel like maybe we knew each other in a past life. I don't know.
Maybe. Redheads only.
Yeah. Okay. Did you actually? I read a fact, totally random, but I read a fact that all redheads are related to the very first person who had red hair on the planet.
Oh, okay. So maybe we go back many lives.
No, we're for sure related. Today, I'm really excited to talk to Wendy because she's all about setting goals and reaching your goals. If you're somebody who has a really big dream, this is like the most amazing person to talk to. You are so good at like actionable steps that create momentum.
Thanks. I think whether you're starting out a new year or a new month or a new chapter of your life, there's always a new place to get to. But I think the biggest thing is when you're going after these sort of outer breakthroughs, that is the Instagrammable stuff that we see that you go, I want that, or I want that, the exterior stuff. I think the biggest takeaway I can start off with is that all of those outer breakthroughs begin with inner breakthroughs. Like you will not, I have goosebumps because I know it for myself to be true. It's like, because I have my own things that next and that next, like, girl, are you going after the inner breakthrough first? Because that is where it all begins,
Wendy, this is like so on time for me because I feel like, yeah, for sure, I can catch myself in a season of wanting those outer breakthroughs. I'm just turned 29. It was my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank
Looking
you.
good.
Feeling pretty good, but honestly, life is not where I expected it to be.
Of course.
You know, and so I've had so much time to really reflect on this. And a realization that I had on my flight last night coming home from my mom's house in Florida, I was landing in LA, and I was like, you know what? I am no longer attached to these outcomes, and I realize that I am doing the best that I can, and I'm showing up every single day, and I'm doing the inner work, and that leads to non-attachment.
I mean, that is a giant breakthrough right there, that you can come back to LA, the land of dreams, being surrounded by billboards and then go on Instagram or any other platform and see everyone's highlight reel and everyone's wins, and say, because what you're doing by saying I'm not attached to the outcome really is saying I am going to give myself permission to feel good now. How about if everyone made that the goal this year, like every day, like you would have so many of your dreams come true, because you're not needing, you just truly released the need for the outcome to give you the feeling. And it doesn't work that way anyway, right? It's like
Totally.
if you need the outcome to happen for you to feel good, and you're not going to feel good until you get there, you literally won't get there.
Can you talk about how the universe can surprise you and actually bring you better than what you thought was possible?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I can only go to I think what will help people is to go to, my 20s and my early 30s and my own devastation and my own disappointment with, I think in every decade actually, as you get older, it gets better. I will say this, but
thank God.
But in my mid 20s and late 20s and early 30s, I was definitely should be further along by now. Didn't go to weddings back home in Chicago because all my friends were getting married, but I didn't even have a boyfriend or the career I wanted. So how could I show up? And so I, was very type A doer. I was like, just tell me what I need to do. I will do more, do more, do more. And, I'm sitting here looking outside at your beautiful view, and when I was in LA, starting out, I'm like, there's a beach. Yeah, I don't have time for that.
I know. I never
to see your view and the boats.
I never went to the beach in the 7 years I grew up here. Went to high school. I never went, but now I live here. And you guys, Wendy's been my mentor for years, and this is actually something I journaled about and freaking wrote about. I bet you I could find the journal. I was like, oh, I see palm trees. I see the water from my apartment. This is all stuff that I wrote about and did when I did your breakthrough course.
So, and I love that, and I'm not surprised. And what you did during that time, and what anyone can do, you can still dream and have a vision. And absolutely, I think the life you want to create is a combination of finding a way to feel complete, or at least 90% satisfaction with where you are now, while having a vision and feeling that vision to the future. It's the combination of that. Most people want the future thing, or they put up a vision board and then it makes them feel bad all day because they don't have the house or the apartment by the sea. And then they feel bad, and then they take massive action feeling bad, and then nothing happens. It's that gets muddled. So if you have the vision, which we all have, some are scared to have it. You weren't scared. You said, okay, you know what? I'm going to tell myself I can live by the marina, and I can wake up every day on the marina, even though at the time my brain's like, well, that's expensive, or whatever your limiting beliefs might have thought. You could envision that, but I have a feeling you were also making the best of where you were at.
It took me, I think, realizing through a lot of your work that the journey doesn't have to look how I thought it was going to look.
That's a letting go as well. Yes.
And being brave enough to envision big enough for me, which even when I busted out all my limiting beliefs, it felt like my ego got smarter, and then I had new limiting beliefs. So there's that glass ceiling, but just being open to it looking completely different and better than what I thought it was going to be. You know what I mean?
Yes. Look, I mean, and the thing of it is, you had envisioned this view before you sat here, right?
Yeah.
But the key of making the best of it is you know, when I was in an apartment in Toluca Lake that apparently was kind of overlooking the freeway, but like I could hear the freeway, but I thought it sounded like the ocean, so I just pretended it was the ocean. And then it looked up into the Hollywood Hills, which I thought I had the best view because I had a third floor rooftop terrace, and it looked to the Hollywood Hills. And then when I met my husband, he had a house in the Hollywood Hills that looked down on my old apartment. I was like, okay, this is definitely a better view.
Right? It's almost like your perspective shifted because you went up and you're looking down at your place and it's not good enough anymore, but like now you're here and you're embodying bigger and better, and right?
I mean, I think I got to the house in the Hollywood Hills because I loved the house. I mean, the apartment. I made the best of the apartment that looked into the Hollywood. I've been made the best of where I was. And it's not to say I had many times like crying in the corner. And I guess to bring it back to the devastation, the guy I married was like, I'm a recovering type A doer, okay? So I have lists and goals and a timeline, and in my 20s, it was like, I'll be married by 32. Let's see, no, it was in this order. I'll be on a TV show, I'll win an Emmy, and then I'll get married, and then I'll have a family, and it'll all happen by the time I'm 32, and now I'm 31, and I have none of that. And when what happens when you do set goals and they do happen, then you set a chunk of like the really important ones, and none of them are working out the way you want. What happens is, when the guy shows up and you said, you wrote it down that you were going to be married at 32 because you had your whole life planned out, you can end up marrying the wrong guy.
Yeah.
And thankfully I did not. That guy broke up with me, devastated the crap out of me. And because I was like, well, if I'm in this great relationship at the time I thought it was, and my timeline is this way, then we can just insert you here like a Lego piece, you know? Like, perfect. So it was like, he's not a box to check off. Like, your life is not about controlling all of the minutia. And so that lesson threw me into so much of this work of the devastation of that breakup, of me going, okay, what if I stopped trying to control every piece of this? Because none of it is working how I wanted. And that's when I really went back to that, or learned to open up to that inner work of like, okay, I'm going to scrap my timeline. And when you surrender, I guess the point too is like, yes, I felt like I wasn't far enough along and I should be married by now and I should be this and that. By the way, I got married at 35, had my first kid at 37, second kid at 41. Don't let any doctor tell you can't have a baby and all that. Like, okay, I'm just shouting that out for my 30-somethings who are like, you know, I hope if anything, this podcast can help prevent a girl from marrying the wrong guy because it was on your timeline. Like, please, you know? So that breakup helped me to really go back to myself going, okay, like, what do I really want? It helped me to redefine what I really wanted. And yes, I made a long list of what I really wanted in a partner. And it was, and a lot of that contrast and that breakup and the nasty things that happened helped me get so clear on what I would and wouldn't stand for. And I had to elevate what my own, worthiness. And I had to do a lot of work. And it brought me to, I'm now happily married for 15 years from a guy that I knew 10 years prior. And anyway, I won't go into all that, but
it's a beautiful story.
It can all work out. And I do believe it does work out. It just will not be on your timeline. So I want to say to kind of chuck your timeline.
So Wendy, speaking to the woman who's gone through her 20s, she's chosen her career path. She's got her group of friends. Maybe she's lost some friends along the way, whatever, but she's chasing her passions. Yep. And let's just say it didn't work out for whatever reason. It just didn't work out. Now what?
The relationship or the passion?
Let's say everything, the big picture. Like, what if you're just there and you're like, this is not it? Like, okay, so now what? Like, it didn't work out.
Well, it depends on the day, because I would say if it's a relationship that didn't work out, it's not about chasing the thing that didn't work out to make it work. It's like, it's life is a grand letting go. It is. And if you don't want someone who doesn't want you. Like, if he's not calling you back, like, he doesn't want to talk to you. Okay. Like, it's that simple. I know it seems like, no, but we could go into like a whole relationship thing, but as far as the relationship stuff goes, what's meant, and the career stuff, what is meant for you will not pass you by. But when you are sitting in your angst about it all, the solutions you are seeking are not in your angst. Yeah. They're in your alignment. And so how do you align with what you want? you have to make peace with the mess that you might feel you're in right now. If you can make peace with how it hasn't been going and trust that it's actually working out better than you could imagine, you'll get clues as to what is the next path. Versus waking up every day and shaming yourself that you don't have this, that, or the other thing, and then going on social media and feeling worse. You know,
right.
I love the how you started out the podcast with the gal who shouted out, like, Heidi, you shifted my focus, right? In a podcast. So it's literally ingesting what feels best. Like, how can you shift your focus so it shifts how you feel? What are you taking in? What are you reading? What are you listening to? What are the thoughts you're having? And how can you shift that to know that, you know, it's not over. It's just a new chapter. And so to begin again, you have to be able to shift how you're thinking and what you're telling yourself, you know?
Wendy, you are so good. This is so good. I remember actually one of the lessons you taught me was like being aware of your thoughts. I had no idea that the thoughts that were going on in my brain were so negative and constant and on repeat and like a loop, and it wasn't my voice. Like it was from somebody else or somewhere else. And so, but like I obviously, like if you're listening to this and you're in a place where you're just like, you have just negative thoughts and you're just not feeling good and you're stuck in your shame about your journey and all that, the number one thing that you can do is start to, and it sounds like this really heavy, lofty thing, but the number one thing you can do is begin to change your subconscious mind. Can you talk about what a subconscious mind is? What is the subconscious mind?
You know, this, if you think of it like an iceberg, the subconscious mind is everything going on under the surface. So you can say, I'm fine, but you can really not feel fine. The subconscious mind really responds to how you feel. That's why like a guided meditation or even a podcast, if you could shift how you're feeling, that's when everything shifts. So to take, for example, like if you're waking up feeling like crap and knowing that, and what's happening is you're usually in a repetitive habit, like you were, or you mentioned of this thought. So instead of being swimming, having the thoughts just drowning in your negative thoughts, if you can sort of step back, and this is where meditation or guided meditation is helpful, but if you can step back and become the witness, you become consciously aware of, oh, this is that thing I do when nothing's going my way, or when my best friend gets engaged, or whatever, all the exterior stuff. This is that thing I do when all this exterior stuff happens. This is that default mode I go to. If you can start becoming aware of like, oh, when I get stressed or when I get triggered, I have a default mode, and it's to beat myself up, or it's to snap at everyone, or it's to, if you can become aware, and that takes willingness and bravery, because most people want to just point other fingers, but if you can go, you know what, when I get overwhelmed, I just start snapping, or I get really quiet, or I don't respond, or whatever it is. We all have different methods based on probably how we grew up.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
So, oh, there's that thing I do. How can I choose maybe a better feeling thought? What would be, if you feel like you're really good at disempowering yourself, first you have to notice that you do that, like you did. You cannot change something you're unaware of. So if you become consciously aware of that, then it is like a daily practice of flipping the script. And that's why if you had, your mantras on the wall of like, I forget what I have to tell myself, so I'm going to read it every day because I wake up and forget, right? So yes. you make that for yourself. I mean, friends used to come to my apartment and be like, I love your bathroom, because I used to have just Post-it notes and all. They're like, your bathroom is like a positivity shrine. I'm like, that's because I get up some days and I'm bummed out too. But then I'm like, oh yeah, okay, right? And so I think as entrepreneurs or actors or creatives, you don't go somewhere to a job necessarily where someone's lifting you up. You got to do it yourself, And even those of you who go to a job somewhere, they might not be lifting you up there. So it is an inside job. All that work is an inside job. Yeah.
How can you start to become more self-aware? Like, how can you recognize, like, oh, I need to be more self-aware?
You know, I mean, look, if you have someone in your world, if you live with someone, just even talking to someone about like when you have a breakdown of sorts, I think just talking to someone and go, can you just give me the bird's eye view? And asking for help, can you give me the bird's eye view? I mean, I'll give you my own example. The other day, you know, I was doing something outside my comfort zone and it got me super emotional. And I went to my husband, I'm like, can you please explain why this makes me cry? And he's like, because this is what happens when you're asking for big help, because you were raised to be self-sufficient. And if you're raised to be, I can do it, asking for help and big help on a big thing that means a lot to you or whatever is outside what I'm used to. It's like, you know, and I think a lot of maybe women who are seeking out even this podcast are like super self-sufficient, want to learn what they, you know, women are always like, what can I learn more to do for me? Because I'm going to take care of me and I'm all for that. But, you know, it's getting outside of that comfort zone that's going to show you who you are. And then having, those of you who live alone, I guess when I lived alone, I just sobbed on the floor and then maybe called a friend and then maybe read a book or found a podcast, you know, but in that moment, I'm asking someone near and dear to me going, can you help me recognize this? And he literally helped me recognize, he's like, oh, well, this is your childhood programming. I'm like, oh, yes, but why? I teach this. This is still coming up. He's like, because that's what happens at every level. You're going to find the mate and then you're going to get engaged and then you might get married or then you might get the show or you might get the thing or you might write the book. And every next level thing is going to bring up next level stuff for you to work through.
It's okay to ask for help.
Absolutely.
Like it actually makes you stronger and helps you go further and it makes you more vulnerable and it allows you to welcome people in.
I mean, let me tell you, the thing that I was scared to do, get your ugly cry out. If you can talk to someone and go, I do this thing that I know is not helping me. And then if someone loving can tell you, yeah, you always do that thing. And then you can get over it. And then I went and I took the action and I did the thing. And then I got a response that was like, absolutely, I would love to. And then you're like, why do I get myself there? And then that's, you know, so it's about shifting. It's about asking for help. Absolutely. It's also about knowing that sometimes, most often, the breakdown happens before the breakthrough.
Breakdowns lead to breakthroughs, and you should cry every day. You should, not every day, but like, I'm in a season where I've been crying every single day. So,
you know, it's being gentle with yourself and also knowing that releasing emotions is a breakthrough.
It is.
Emotion, energy in motion. You're meant to get it out, right?
Yeah.
You're not meant to tuck it all away. You know, I feel like the releasing emotion is a breakthrough. Rest can be a breakthrough.
Yes.
Like all of the things that we're taught to like just handle it and be okay and not do all the things that we're talking about. I'm here to give everyone permission to say, you know what? I need a day off, or I need a good cry, or I need some help, or whatever it is. All of that is, you can still be a strong woman and be all of those things.
Yes.
Because then you're honoring your humanity.
And your process. You got to process things. You can't just like not be okay and hold it in and expect to be okay.
Because you're going to explode.
Exactly. Yes. And then it just doesn't feel good. I tried that. I tried containing the emotions and just keeping it all in, and that feels really bad.
When you're scared to feel an emotion that you feel like a wave, it's going to just swallow you, is realizing that, you know, just like waves, they pass, and storms pass, like our darkest days pass. It all passes. So to even bring it back full circle to what you're saying of like, what if none of it's working out? It's like, what if it's all had to break down before you broke through to really discover what you really wanted to do? Like, were you really passionate about that thing or that person or that relationship? You know, you discover who you are really in your darkest moments. And we all have them, and you'll continue to have them. You're going to continue to have you know, I joke like, okay, so my ugly cries are now like around an island with a pool in my backyard. How lucky am I?
Right.
But I'm not going to tell you I never cry even though I have a pool. And when I was in an apartment overlooking the freeway, of course I thought, well, if I had a yard and a husband and kids and a pool, I would be happy for the rest of my life. And I'm just here to tell you there's amazing moments and I'm blessed and grateful. But if you're going to keep expanding in this life, you're going to have some ugly cries around your pool, island, apartment, whatever, wherever it is.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And it's honoring that and saying, oh, okay, well, that's just something that I need to learn from today. What's the message? And maybe the message is I'm going back to bed and I'm not thinking about this right now, you know?
So good, Wendy. So you know what Josh said to me the other day?
What?
He shared this quote. I don't know where he got it from, but he said, once you get to the top of a mountain and you look beyond, there are more mountains. So behind mountains are more mountains.
Yes, I love that. I think Amy Poehler said something similar as it relates to an acting career. She's like, you will never get to the top of career mountain and think and shout, I've made it. And I actually think like, Amy Poehler, really? You don't think you've made it? Like,
Wow.
Are we all in trouble if Amy Poehler doesn't think she's made it? But she's saying there's another goal, and then I want to do this and that, and that doesn't end. So awesome. Then let's normalize the valleys and the peaks, right? Let's be okay when we're on our way down the mountain, and let's, maybe not beat ourselves up when we're climbing up it. Let's just pause wherever we are and take in the view. How about
Right.
that?
I love that. Just take in the
You
freaking
know?
view. Yes, because
Whether it's 2 feet or 20 or elevation of 5,000, like there's a view to be had at every stage,
yeah. So let me ask you this, like looking back now, like look back to your 29-year-old self. Okay. Cause I just turned 29. So I want this advice.
Yes.
Like, were you taking in the view? Really?
Not as much as I am now. Not as
And
much.
when did that shift happen?
I'd say like after that big, horrible, terrible breakup,
Yeah.
I slowed down a lot. I learned to stop all the doing and focus on who I was being. And to do that, you have to get still. And when you're a type A doer, getting still is not fun, right?
Right.
And I mean, it's funny that I now have created all these guided meditations because at the time, meditation was like, yeah, that's just worrying with my eyes closed. I don't really
Right.
know how to do that, right? I mean, that's literally what it felt like. But over time, I was definitely in doing mode because I thought if I just kept doing more, I would have more, I would create more, and it backfired on me in so many ways,
It's counterintuitive. It's like less is more. There's a have you read The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra?
Love it.
Law of least effort. Literally one of my favorite laws. I'm like, oh, I literally can do less and more will come. I have a question for you actually.
Yes.
So my friend, he just got a tattoo and it's action over intention. It's like action and then there's a line and then it says intention. So I'm curious for you specifically, what do you think is more important, action or intention?
It's funny, if I had a tattoo, it would say alignment than action.
Oh,
Because if you find alignment, and what does that mean? Finding alignment with what you want is really to go to the feeling place of the dream fulfilled. What will that feel like? Because everything you want is because you think you'll feel better having it. Well, you can go ahead and feel that way now. And in feeling better, your action will become much more inspired because you're not taking action from that place of doubt and worry and fear and you're in alignment. So alignment then action. That's what I would say.
that is
I better
really
get a tattoo.
good. Yeah,
It's tattooed on the inside of my mind.
I feel like authenticity is a super powerful place to be when it comes to manifestation and also calling in and being in alignment. And when I look at your work as an actress and even in your coaching, you are so authentic and like you're real, like of all the clips of you, of the role that you play on Atypical as well. Oh my God, it's you. It's you. So can you speak to how authenticity can really be your superpower?
I mean, it really, what it does is you're giving yourself massive ownership of your flaws and your fabulousness, right? So like, what a great place to live, right? I've been told I was too loud since I was about 5 years old, right? I know that when I walk in a room, you know, I'm a lot. I think Andy Grammer just wrote a song about like, oh, of course it's like the good in me. He's like, I know I'm a lot to handle. And I sing that out loud in my house. Like, I know I'm a lot to handle. And that's why some people love me and maybe some people don't. And you know what? The authenticity comes in the release of needing to please everyone.
Yeah.
When you're just your authentic self, it gets really clear for your viewers, readers, casting, whoever, to know I love her. She's not right. You're just right or not. Atypical, that role, I embraced Kathy, the character I play. I embraced every flaw she had with my love and support, right? It's like, oh, and so bringing your authentic self and not judging it and just going, yeah, she might say some things that maybe she probably shouldn't have said. I can relate. I'll bring that, it's finding yourself in the work.
Right.
And then also crafting a character that, is authentic to the material is my job. And then on This Is Us, I play something total, the opposite and poise. And, what I love about acting is like they're giving me the words, which is really
amazing,
helpful.
So you just show up with your authentic energy, and you do so by owning all parts of you: the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, the things that maybe people have judged you for.
All of it. Yes. And then I can watch Heidi or listen to Heidi or listen to her podcast, and when I really know who she really is, I can either identify with her or go, she's not my people. And it's like awesome to decide that.
Yes.
Because we all want to find our people. When you watch someone, you go, I love Mel Robbins, right? She's so authentically herself. Do you know her podcast?
I freaking love
Yeah,
Mel
she's
Robbins.
just like, here's the deal. I'm in Vermont. Here's what's up. And she's just so real.
Yeah.
She's not like putting 18 filters. She's just so real. And you love her for her realness, for what, and so I'm just thinking of like a thought leader in our world of that you go, you don't need 18 masks, So I think showing up authentically, it allows you to not be as self-conscious, Yeah, and at 29, me showing up authentically got me, a 26-spot campaign and starting a career that has lasted all these years. It's helped me, create success by embracing the shadow sides of myself as well,
Can you touch on how to make peace with the shadow sides?
Let's see.
Because that's a hard pill to swallow sometimes.
Yes, I think, look, I have I like to make up acronyms for myself to like remember little tools, right? And so recently my sort of acronym has been, the view of yourself is really one of the most important things to cultivate. Like, how do you view yourself?
It is the most important.
How do you view the shadow sides of yourself, right? Can you say, like Andy Grammer's song, I'm a lot to handle, and be okay with that and be like, well, if I'm a lot to handle and then I attract people who can handle it, then I've done well, right? Then you can handle, my husband can handle all of me, right? And I'm a lot to handle, but I have attracted a mate who doesn't think of it that way, who doesn't see it that way, who, right? And I'm sure you probably feel the same way,
way, Wendy, what?
But if I was hiding my authentic self, which I definitely was in the previous relationship of like, I'll just morph in, oh, you like hiking? I love hiking. It's like, I freaking hate hiking. I don't want to hike. I'm an Aries. I want to go downhill fast. I want to snowboard and rollerblade. And now I'm hiking, pretending I like hiking in secret. It's like, eventually you just let all that stuff go so you can bring your authentic self out. And when I met my husband at the time, I was done pretending I was a bunch of things.
Right.
And then how lovely, and I'm still married and have 2 awesome children who I teach them to be their authentic selves because now I've found something that is real because he knows who I really am. I'm not trying to,
Can you imagine if you guys did meet before.
Yeah.
So you did meet maybe in a time where you were not so tired of like hiding your authentic parts, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, so by the time you met him, you were just like exhausted from not being fully you, that you were like, this is me and take it or leave it. And he probably was like, who is that hot redhead?
You know, I mean, look, I met him at 25. We went on our first date at 35. So to my 29-year-olds out there who are crying in their apartment that they just broke up with their boyfriend or they moved away or all the things, I've been there. And in the midst of feeling like it's all not working out, what I was faced with was my own growth so I could become the woman I needed to be to attract the life and the mate and the career and all the things that I have, you know?
Wow.
So if it's your darkest time right now, just know that it's leading to the light. Oh, I wanted to tell you my VIEW acronym.
Yes.
For anyone who's,
tell us your
taking
acronym.
notes. No. So how do we, whether it's the shadow sides of ourselves or just, I mean, I do this after a workout, is like, I'll be at like our F45 workout place, and at the end, I will just lay down on my back, put my hand on my heart, and this is your point of view. So it's an acronym for the word view, VIEW. And if the two most powerful words we say in the English language are I am, then it's I am valuable, I am intuitive, I am enough, I am worthy. I am valuable, I am intuitive, I am enough, I am worthy. If you just start your day with that before you get out of bed, before you check your phone or make a call or try the thing, and you reframe how you see yourself in that place, you will start shifting a lot of things in your life.
It's so important. Guys, take in what she's saying. View. I'm literally getting that tattooed on my forehead. Valuable, intuitive. Trust that voice inside of you that does say you're valuable, and that does say you are enough, and that does say I'm worthy and worth more than what's currently happening.
And you can say it and in response to all the things you think you're not. Like if I was 29, I am valuable, intuitive, enough, and worthy, with or without a relationship, with or without the career I think I need, with or without the house, the apartment, the bank account, the whatever it is I'm after, right freaking now, right now, today. I am alive and breathing on this planet. I am valuable. I am intuitive. I will be shown the way. I am enough. I am worthy. And I don't need external conditions, mates, resumes, money, whatever, to give me that, because that is a false sense. It's not sustainable, right? So if you can give yourself that, then all the other stuff is just gravy, fun, and then you can have fun along the way.
Do you have any other questions that you can start to ask yourself to initiate a breakthrough?
Yes. So here's how I look at it. A lot of people start the new year or a new month, and they're always taking massive action in doing mode, which I very much was. When you keep doing and when your efforts come from a place of fear and lack and doubt, it will never align with success, right? If you're taking action and more action. And I used to listen to stuff and be like, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? Just tell me what I need to do. So if you can step back from all the doing, if you can just stop all the doing, let's say even for a week or even a day, and you can ask yourself these 4 questions. You begin with, instead of what am I doing? What am I doing? What do I need to do? Who am I being? Is what I want and who I am being and what I'm believing today in alignment with what I want, what I say I want. So who am I being? Then what am I thinking? How am I thinking? Is what I want and the thoughts I am thinking in alignment? And if not, go back to my I am point of view and just take a moment, step back, realign your thoughts, right? So who am I being? What am I thinking? And is it in alignment with what I want? What am I saying? So is what I want and the stories I'm telling, the posts I'm posting, the content I'm making, the responses I'm responding, the the words I'm using on a daily basis in all kinds of interactions, is it in alignment with what I want? Or am I out like gossiping and shaming and, whatever all day long, complaining and blaming? And what are my words? If I got to where I wanted to go, would it be the words I use today? Is that a match? So who am I being? How am I thinking? What am I saying? And then what am I doing? Because yes, you have to take action. But when you align those three things first, the action becomes inspired. Then you light up. The path lights up. The way lights up. People come out of the woodwork to offer ideas or help, or, hey, I'd love you to come speak on our panel, or things happen. But if you're just in doing mode from that place of like comparing and being pissed, and then you're like doing from that place, and you're really frustrated and angry and resentful and all that, your action is like on a hamster wheel. So if you can step back, and sometimes it's like put the phone down and take a break and get outside, or just have that alone quiet time. I think people are super scared of that sometimes.
Wow.
Who am I being? What am I thinking? What am I saying? And then what am I doing today that would align me with what I want? What's a next logical step? It doesn't have to be the whole staircase. What's one next step that I can do from a place of feeling good, of being in the flow, Having that point of view of like knowing I'm on the right path.
God, it's so good.
And some days are easier than others on that,
So on this topic of flow, I love, what is that meditation? Getting into the flow, or in the flow? In the flow.
It's funny that I've been really loud my whole life, because all my meditations are in my like really quiet, more omniscient voice. That's the alter ego side of me.
You guys, you've all experienced it before. You maybe just don't know what it's called. What is the flow?
To me, when I wrote in the flow, a lot of times I just sort of, I type at my keyboard with my eyes closed. So I sometimes often ask my highest self a question, and then allow that side of myself to answer. And out came in the flow. And my acronym for the word flow is feeling love overflow within. So it's in this world of external gratification and like buttons and followers, and we're on a dopamine drip of needing the external to feel good. People can't put their phone down for more than like an hour without just checking it, because it's I feel good. And then more times than not, you're not feeling very good. You're feeling worse and worse and worse. So feeling love overflow within, it comes back to, I have to love myself first to get something done in this world. And that just helps you align back with, am I feeding my heart? Am I feeling love overflow within, which is letting go of judgment, it's letting go of shame, it's letting go of blame. It's a lot of the stuff you're doing.
Right. And it's like, when you're in a flow state, it's almost just like you're tapping into ease. Like things just, like, my boyfriend, sometimes I've shown him this meditation too. And so sometimes he'll come home and he's like, baby, I'm in the flow. He's like, I literally needed nail clippers so bad. And, I had to go pick up one of my coworkers and take them to the airport, and they got in and they literally asked me if I needed nail clippers. You know what I mean? And that's a dumb example.
But it's not dumb. It's a small, it's a small point of evidence of the universe.
Totally.
Right?
It's like I think he just felt like, he's like, I need nail clippers. And he probably told himself, I'm going to go get nail clippers today. And he just believed it. Yep. Right? He felt that, and it just appeared. So when you're in the flow, it's like things just kind of come easy to you. The audition, right? Like you said, the person reaching out to ask you to speak on their panel, the clients, if you're starting your business or whatever it is, maybe you're a creative and you felt stuck. If you're in the flow, the ideas start to come and it starts to feel really good.
Yes, and I think where that begins is within. It doesn't begin on checking my social media and seeing if I got likes and then deciding I'm going to feel good if I do. It's quieting the mind, getting to the place where you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, really. It's very Wayne Dyer, right?
I love Wayne.
It's can you create a feeling place within you on a daily basis of what it would feel like to be where you wanted to be, your next level vision? Create that feeling now, not from a place of like bummed out I'm not there, of like, oh, just savoring in the imagination of it. No?
None of the next logical steps made any sense or felt like they were momentous or momentous. Like it didn't feel like they were big things, but it's crazy. My therapist always tells me, he's like, we live forward, but we understand backwards. So I think it's just letting that intuition guide you. And it is, if you can really get into a place of self-love, being so self-aware and doing the daily practices to stay in that place, meditating, working on that subconscious mind, that will lead you to wherever it is you want to go. End of story. Yes. No exceptions, no questions asked. Those 2 words, I am, like Wendy said, are the most powerful words in the universe. And they literally do create your reality.
And look, I mean, I know for me, meditation was really hard. I sort of joked that it was like, felt like worrying with my eyes closed. But I created a guided meditation. Actually, I created it during the pandemic as a response to all of the anxiety in the world. That actually Variety ended up featuring, and I've shared it now with lots of people, and a lot of actors and creatives all over the world have said, after listening to it, I felt better in 15 minutes than I had all year. And so I continue to share it, and happy to share it with your audience as well.
Oh my God, that is so nice. Thank you.
It is called Easing Anxiety and Improving Well-Being, and it's for any person on the planet, really. You don't have to be, an artist, a creative. I think we all have certain levels of anxiety, right? So Easing Anxiety and Improving Well-Being, and you can download it for free. It's at actorinspiration.com/ease. And that's just a guided meditation as you talk about like daily practices. It's something you can insert in your morning routine of a 15-minute of just, if you don't know how to get there, what helped me was creating guided meditations to help my mind get there that I couldn't do on my own. That on my own just felt like worrying with my eyes closed. So
Wendy, thank you.
That's sort of a gift for anyone listening.
Thank you so much for that gift. I'll be sure to put the link in the show notes, you guys. So if you want to try out one of her meditations, that's going to be an incredible one. And then also, I'm just going to shout out her program that she launches once a year, the Success Breakthrough Workshop. It changed my life. I live where I live. I date who I date. I see what I see. I do what I do, all because of the Success Breakthrough Workshop. Swear to God. Oh. I had nothing. I was in so much debt when I met you, and I was like, take my money, sign me up for this course. And now I'm like just in the complete opposite place. And I feel so, so good. So you guys check that out.
Well, I got to just say, to witness your many, many, many inner breakthroughs along the way that have created many, many, many outer breakthroughs, and that you keep coming back. I mean, in my course, it's lifetime access. So people come back year after year for free. And to be able to create the next level breakthroughs and the next level breakthroughs, it's been, it was a process I discovered around 29 when my life was not working. And then it worked. And if it worked for me, I figured it could work for other people. And so to watch what you've done in the short amount of time, to look back, as your therapist says, is pretty amazing.
I think you've saved me probably 20 years of struggle. I'm not kidding. That's the whole point of you sharing your knowledge. And that's what I hope to do with you guys here on this podcast. I hope that you will learn from our lessons.
Yes.
So yes, I hope that you guys will take these lessons and apply them. It's one thing to hear these things, which is helpful on a subconscious level, but it's an entirely different thing to put those into aligned action.
Yes.
So definitely take action from this podcast today. Do something, whether it's listening to that episode, checking out Wendy, follow her on Instagram, tons of amazing content there. Wendy, I have one final question for you.
Yes.
All right, let's pretend that you are on an elevator. Maybe you're at like an audition. Maybe you're going into an audition, or maybe you're going onto a set or something, okay? And you get into the elevator, you're getting ready to go. You feel good, right? And a young girl is on the elevator and she's by herself. And you can imagine, right, like the energy she has. She's got like her little headshot in her hand and she's nervous, right? what wisdom would you impart on her? Not just for like the audition, but for her life. What piece of wisdom do you want her to know, and how do you want her to feel after having met you?
I would tell her, because we all want to get somewhere, I would tell her, the key to getting to where you want to go is to make peace with where you are. So just keep doing that and have way more fun along the way, and I'll see you at the top. That's what I would tell her.
Good. That's beautiful, Wendy. I love you so much. Thank you so much.
I love you too, girl. I'm so proud of you. It's fun to watch you shine and soar.
Thank you. Thanks for being an amazing light and guide and mentor and friend. You're just so wonderful. We love you.
Namaste.
Namaste. Oh my God, you guys, I'm literally beaming with energy after that interview. Like I like can't even control it. There's energy just like and light like exploding out of every single pore of my body. So I know that if you listened to this episode that you are feeling the exact same way, and I'm telling you that this is the kind of energy that you need to show up with in the world if you want to make your dreams your reality. So today we're going to share, like Wendy said, this amazing guided meditation. She says, enjoy a free guided meditation recently featured in Variety to help you feel better in under 15 minutes, called Easing Anxiety and Improving Well-Being. You guys, you can download it for free at actorinspiration.com/ease. And also check Wendy out on Instagram at Wendy Braun, right?
Wendy Braun, or Actor in Spirit is my other handle,
which is an amazing account as well. Follow me, tag us on social media, and let us know that you love this episode, because we love to hear from you. And then, of course, make sure you're subscribed. Leave a review if you loved this episode. Mention it, and I will feature you on the podcast. Wendy, thank you so much for coming on this show, and thank you for sharing your wisdom with our listeners. We love you. And to my Power Femme people, I love you. Go have an amazing day. I'll see you next time.